So because Kim Jong-un visited his counterpart Vladimir Putin in Russia, the whole West and America is going crazy. They claim that Vladimir Putin and the Russian state is running out of weapons, and that is why they are going to North Korea. Look, I want to take my time and expose the Western media. This is what CNN said.
Of course, a lot of speculation about what this meeting will be about. According to US intelligence and other Western officials, it's all about weapons. It's all about selling the Russians artillery shells and anti-tank missiles from the North Koreans. And so more on this. Let's go now to CNN's Christy Liu Stout joining us live from Hong Kong. So it's finally happened. We now know where Kim Jong-un actually is.
Look, this is not the first time CNN is reporting this thing. Russia is running out of weapons. They are turning to North Korea. 10 months ago, they reported the same news.
Heard from other U.S. officials, which is that the United States believes that Russia is firing its precision munitions at an unsustainable rate. And this is part of the reason why Haynes and other officials believe that Russia has been forced to turn to countries like Iran and North Korea to provide it with weapons. In particular, Russia has leaned heavily on these Iranian-made drones that they have used to strike Ukrainian infrastructure, energy infrastructure specifically, in recent weeks and days. The U.S. intelligence community now sees Russia using these drones as kind of a replacement precision munition.
So the video you just watched is 10 months ago. The same nonsense. Russia's run out of weapons. All the time, Russia's run out of weapons. Do you know they even accuse Russia of using microwave and washing machine parts to produce weapons? Check it out.
Them. Even as early as May, they were running low on parts to repair diesel engines, helicopters and aircraft they weren't able to fix because they couldn't get the components. Even two factories were forced to go idle that were creating some of these microelectronics because they weren't able to get some of the foreign equipment. And in fact, Russia is so desperate for some of these parts to put into their weapons that they're dismantling things like dishwashers and microwaves. Of course, what is behind all of this are these really tough export restrictions that the U.S. and other nations put into place at the beginning.
So you heard that right. Russia is now using microwave parts to produce weapons. So whatever the West is accusing North Korea and Russia, it's not new. There is nothing new here. 10 months ago, they said the same thing. Now, they realized that whatever they were saying was a bunch of nonsense. It was not working. And fast forward, they started saying the truth. They started saying, look, the West is rather running out of weapons, not the Russians. The Russians can fire 20,000 shells in a day. Check it out. Sky News.
Year. Now, why has this shortfall come about? Well, the West had never anticipated that there'd be a war of this scale, of this duration, of this ferocity to happen in Europe anytime soon. And all of your defence planning assumptions were based on much smaller conflicts, much smaller in size and scale and ferocity. And therefore, war stocks that should have lasted for years actually are only lasting for weeks, and in some cases only in terms of days. The Russia's mode of operation here, it's a 20th century warfare. They have a year's worth of artillery rounds because that's how they fight. They've been using 20,000 rounds of artillery a day. They don't care about the devastation that's wreaked behind them, whereas Ukraine is a much smaller country, has much smaller stocks of this ammunition, and it's quite difficult for the West to source Russian artillery rounds. So part of this is making sure that Ukraine is properly furnished, but also because it's not just about the artillery rounds, it's also about the equipment that fires them, and you need to provide spare support and stuff like that. And bluntly, the West has not always provided the most modern equipment to Ukraine, and therefore there is quite a sustainment tale that's associated with that.
So is that a separate issue about replacing or just giving, in the first instance, the kind of more complicated equipment, not just the ammunition?
Definitely. What the West does not want us to do is for Ukraine to be dragged into a slugging match, a grinding war of attrition on the ground. So the West, which fights...
Interesting. So 10 months ago, Russia was running out of weapons. 6 months ago, the West is rather running out of weapons. And these guys even admitted that the Russians are using old warfare. They can fire 20,000 shells in a day. They even said the Russians have stockpile of weapons. I'm not the one saying it. Sky News said it. And again, we are back to the same rhetoric. Russia is running out of weapons. We've heard it before. And very soon, these guys will claim that, oh, Russia have weapons, the West is rather running out of weapons. We've seen it before. right? There is nothing new. I want to take my time and expose the Western media. And this is what Joe Biden said some few months ago.
We're in a situation where Ukraine continues to be brutally attacked across the board by munitions, by these cluster munitions that have dud rates that are very, very low, very high, that are a danger to civilians, number one. Number two, the Ukrainians are running out of ammunition. The ammunition that they call them 155 millimeter weapons. This is a war relating to munitions, and they're running out of that ammunition, and we're low on it. And so what I finally did, took the recommendation of the Defense Department to not permanently, but to allow for in this transition period where we get more 155 weapons, these shells for the Ukrainians, to provide them with something that has a very low dud rate. It's about 150.
So these are the words of Joe Biden. Joe Biden said America and Ukraine both are running out of 155 millimeter shells. I'm not the one who said it. You see, I played all these videos for you guys to analyze whatever the Western media is saying now. Because if I come out to tell you guys that, they are lying, maybe some of you will not believe me. There is nothing new. All the time they say it. Russia's run out of weapons. Ukraine is winning. Then they will come back again and change their mouth. The Western America and Ukraine is rather running out of weapons. Russia have a lot of weapons in stockpile. So the Western media contradict themselves. Look, these guys are panicking. Look, they don't know what to say. There is nothing new here. So guys, don't listen to the nonsense these guys are telling you. Right? Look, the whole meeting is about Vladimir Putin and the Russian state. They want to help North Korea to build a satellite, because North Korea launched a lot of ballistic missiles, and they need satellite to do that, especially when it comes to precision guided missile systems. You need satellite. It is very, very important. The Russians have GLONASS, Americans have GPS, and North Korea is equally trying to build their own satellite. This is what the meeting is all about. This whole North Korea sending weapons to Russia, Vladimir Putin is desperate. Don't forget, 10 months ago, these people claimed, the same people said the Russians were desperate and they were taking parts from washing machine and they were taking parts from microwave to produce weapons. And we saw that was a lie. And fast forward 6 months ago, they changed their mouth. So there's nothing new here. It's very, very important to me when you like the video. TikTok will introduce it to a lot of people. Let us expose the West. Help me expose the Western media. Thank you.